We're just gonna have a conversation about how we deal with things when unexpected situations happen in our life, which I'm sure we all have as people of faith and believers in God. So I am a mom. As you know, I have a toddler. So one morning I was in a rush. I forgot what. It was something important. I must have had an appointment or something. It was Ava's day for daycare. She does it 3 days a week. I wake her up in the morning, get her dressed, put her straight into the car, like right away. Like first thing in the morning, she wakes up and I just take her. They feed her breakfast and everything.
That's amazing.
And usually the same routine happens every morning. Like it's usually a pretty easy thing. Like she knows what we're doing, you know. This one morning, like it has to happen the day I have something planned. I have a schedule. I have to be somewhere at a certain time, you know.
Of course.
And like every minute is literally like a thought through, you know. I come into her room and she's just like not happy. I don't know. I'm like, Ava, what's going on? You know, I'm like trying to put on her clothes. Like we got to get changed. We got to take off your pajamas and like put on your clothes. And she's just like, not happy. She's having an attitude. I'm like,
oh no.
What? And so first I'm like, okay, maybe she had a rough night or something. So I'm like taking it easy. Like it's okay.
You're right.
Like trying to calm myself, like, oh, just be patient. It's fine. And so it just keeps going and going. And I'm like, I can't even change her. Now it's like 15 minutes go by and I just can't change her from out of her clothes. I'm like, now I'm getting irritated. I'm like, okay, time is ticking and I have to go. And then she just like peed right there. And then all of a sudden started crying so hard. And I was like, Ava, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. And I was like, hey, let's go wash. You know, we're going to go to the bathtub. And
can I be honest? At this point in time, were you still like composed? Because I've been there, so I'm like, I just be like, really? Like, I get frustrated.
In my head, I was already getting like, oh my gosh, you know, but I was very conscious of like what's happening. Like, okay, I'm getting irritated, and if I get too irritated and it shows, it's gonna make things worse.
You're
so
amazing.
I'm like, but this was never like this before, okay? And I still have so much growth. Oh my God, it's crazy. I'm reading like parenting books, and so I'm like, I'm becoming a lot more aware of how I respond to her when she's having like a tantrum. And so I take her to the bath. Anyway, everything of that morning went crazy. She's having not just a meltdown, she's having a tantrum like level 3, like nonstop. She's screaming. She's like, anything she sees, she wants to throw it. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I have to discipline her, and I discipline. It's like not getting better. And then for a second, she'll calm down, and I'm like, Ava, like trying to talk, because I always talk with her right after. I'm like, Ava, it's going to be fine. Like, mommy's just, we're in a hurry, da-da-da.
Yeah.
And then the seconds later, it starts again. So we had the 3 times that I had to discipline. We calmed down. We tried to connect again.
Yes.
It happened 3 times. And I'm like, this is lasting for an hour now. So we're late to everything.
Wow.
I was like, she's not going to daycare. I already made up my mind she's not going.
Yeah.
Like, this is just craziness and completely out of my control. And so at one point, finally... Wow, I'm making this story so long because it was so detailed. It was so detailed. It felt like eternity to me.
Yeah.
You know, it felt like so long. I went to Ava's room, closed the door. She was somewhere over here. I don't even know what she was doing. I was like, I don't care if she breaks everything in the house. I don't know what to do. I called Slav, and I was just like, Slav, my husband, I said, I don't know what to do. Ava's just acting completely bananas. I don't know what got into her. Yeah. And I don't know how to handle this situation. And he was like, let me talk to her. And I put him on speaker. And she tried to listen to him. And she kind of calmed down. And then I'm like, okay, thanks, bye. I go to my room, lay on the bed, and just start bawling. I just, not like a lot of tears, like that, like a loud cry. I just didn't know anymore. I was like, I felt like I'm the worst parent. I felt like everything's fallen apart. God, what am I doing wrong? Like, I thought I'm doing everything right, you know? I'm trying to be at peace. I'm trying to not be angry with her, but I'm like so mad. And I remember thinking like, I am so evil, not because of the way I acted. Maybe to her I acted calm, but I know myself and I know my thought process. So when I'm like so irritated, sometimes in my head I'm like thinking, man, if someone took her right now and just like took her away from me, I wouldn't even care. I was that mad, you know?
Right. And
I'm like thinking, dear God, I'm so sorry. I can't believe I thought that, you know? I just felt so horrible, like the worst. And just like talking to God and with so much sincerity, like, I don't know how to be a parent. I really don't, you know? And this I did not expect. And I'm like, God, but you knew. You knew this morning would happen. You were not surprised by it. I'm surprised by it. You're not surprised by it.
Right.
And I was like, in every hard situation, there's still opportunity. And I'm like, what is my opportunity? What is it? What am I trying? What can I learn from this?
Right.
Ava comes to me and she's like sucking her thumb, just like, Mom. Just looking at me like, what's wrong with you? Because she's like seeing this like side of me that maybe she hasn't like seen before. I was just like, oh my gosh, a mess, a wreck. And she comes and just lays next to me and just stares at me. And I'm still like, just like sobbing. Like I can't stop crying, you know? And I just look at Ava and I'm like, Ava, I'm so sorry. Not because of like, oh, I disciplined you and I shouldn't have. No. That was all right.
Yeah.
But my attitude on the inside, I was like, that is what God sees. That's what matters the most is how do you keep your peace in the midst of this craziness that you never expected to happen?
Right.
Because if we plan things and it happens how we plan, it's easy to keep peace. It's easy to be happy because you planned on it and it happened how you planned on it.
Right.
But when it's unexpected and then it's crazy unexpected, yeah, that's the hard part. But
well, I want to commend you because your composure alone, like that's inspiring to me because I don't know if I could have held that all together. Like I'm very honest, sometimes brutally honest, not only my husband and my kids. And sometimes you can't take back words. Yeah. But the fact that you felt conviction and God was like, you were like, Lord, you see my heart. Like I truly want to like say sorry to her about my heart, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. And humbling, you know, that you can, like, apologize. A lot of people I don't feel like can apologize. Like, it's inspiring, that story. It really encourages me, you know?
Yeah, well, you know, I something about apology is, like, I know that a lot of parents cannot apologize to their kids. Yeah. And I think that's so sad. I think it's easy for me to do it because I've seen my parents do it.
Wow.
And they've modeled that for me. Like when my mom acted a certain way that was wrong, even when I was wrong, but she was wrong too, she'll come and apologize to me. And I'm like, that just that there's so much respect both ways, right? Wow. Instead of like, you need to respect me because I'm your parent. Right. But it's like, that's a mean attitude too.
Right.
Like you should be sorry for the way you're talking to me, even though you're older, right?
Right.
And so like, I think that respect should be earned both ways, 100%. So I think seeing that modeled was a huge benefit. But for parents, it's such a big deal. Like Ava, she felt it. It was like automatic heart to heart, you know? She just like melted. I'm like, Ava, I'm so sorry. And she probably didn't even know what I was sorry for, you know? But I'm just like...
What I've observed with my own kids is like, you don't even need to say words. They can already feel the atmosphere.
Oh my gosh.
So I can tell my kids like, no, I'm fine. And it's like, they're like, yeah, right, Mom. Like, because I would be frustrated, but I wouldn't be saying anything. Right. I wouldn't show it in my action, but they can feel the atmosphere, you know? Yeah, so like, I'm sure Ava was like, okay, I don't know what's going on, but I feel the temperature of the house, you know? And I do feel like with moms especially, like we carry kind of like determine really the makeup of our house or like the atmosphere, the temperature of our house. Like, we have a lot of way in that. Do you agree?
100%. 100%. I've seen multiple examples in my life about that. Like, man, if I'm even a tiny bit irritated on the inside, even if I'm not showing it, I'm telling you, it spreads like this crazy energy that everyone can feel. And it's like their attitude towards me now is different. And then I'm reaction. We were at my parent-in-laws, and usually leaving from them is so hard with Ava. She just never wants to leave.
That's a good feeling.
I mean, she loves them, but like, oh, it gets me. Yeah. It got me so many times. By the time we come home, I'm like, oh my gosh.
You're like, I'm done.
I'm so done. I'm like, this was last Sunday, I think. So when we were leaving, I've noticed how she was so calmly, like it was easy to leave, and we got in the car, and Slav even thanked me. He's like, babe, thanks for being like calm and like not even rushing me. We were the last ones to leave. The whole family was there, and we're always the last ones to leave. I don't know why, but that usually irritates me. I'm like, it's Sunday and tomorrow's Monday. We need to, you know, it's a new week. I hate coming home late on Sundays. But
I'm the same
for some reason, I was like totally okay. Like, of course, I didn't like that, but I was not even feeling any kind of like anger about it on the inside. It was so weird.
I love
I think that was God, because I'm telling you, that's so not me. But I think because God sees a heart that's like, God, I want to change truly.
Yeah.
Like, show me what is the right way, you know, and He will. And with time, He sees that you are so desperate for that, He will change you. Like, He totally will, because no one can. Not even any book. I read so many books on personal development, on growth, you know, personal growth. They're good, but it didn't transform my life. It can't change the things that are so deep, like deep roots. Anyway, back to the story. So we left and Slav's thanking me. He said, thanks for being calm. And I was like, I just thought to myself, like, oh my gosh, I was so calm and Ava left so easily. Like, that 100% affected her. Because when I'm like, Ava, I'm like frustrated. Oh, she feels it. But I have like endless stories like this.
But that's amazing. That's so encouraging, because like, I feel like a lot of times my emotions or like my frustration get the best of me. And that's an area of growth I definitely want. And it does. The kids feel it. They even know if it's like little things, you know, and it affects them. And I don't want to transfer my anxiety or stress or irritation on your kids, you know, because they're like little products of you, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can relate to this, but I remember when I was younger, and I grew up like babysitting for family and for friends, and like I think it was like one of my first jobs. And I remember being like, well, when I'm a mom, like I'm never gonna let this fly. Or like the people that are at the grocery store and they have a kid screaming, and you're like, I would never let my kids do that, or whatever. And then you have kids and you're like, wow, humbled. Like, okay, I get it now. Like, and then hearing people, and I was really young, and I know you were young when you had kids, and it's like having friends that don't have kids, and they kind of, you can feel it. Maybe sometimes they don't say anything, but I'm like, oh, you just wait. Like, we have bad days. We need to allow our kids to have bad days. Yeah. And sometimes I wish I could like scream and cry in front of everyone, but
yeah, same. But you know, I've noticed, like, especially when it's in public, like at the store or in the airplane. Right. Like, man, I'm serious. Like, whenever something like that happens, something out of my control, something kind of like out there, like, whoa, how do I handle this? People are watching. I just ask myself questions. I ask myself, like, for example, what can I do about this? If I can, I'll do what I can. But also, I'm like, how is my irritation gonna help the situation? Right. If I'm irritated, especially in public, I remember, oh my gosh, when we're flying and Ava would scream for like such a long time, for hours, and people are looking back, you know, making you feel bad. Try to make you feel bad. But
like, I already feel bad. I don't need your looks. Yeah.
It's like, I just remember I would like go into a sweat, like an attack, like a panic attack, you know? I'm like, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with her. I don't know what to do with other people. I don't know what to do with myself. And I just like freak out. Right. It helps no one. No. Helps no one. And I just remember my sister one time was saying the best thing you could do when you're in a public area and your kid is acting crazy is just to stay calm. Yeah. That's it. And I was like, okay, that's actually a really hard muscle, but I'm willing to work on that. That's it. You don't need to discipline them in that time. No. Yeah. You need to, as soon as you feel the heat rising, and I could go from 0 to 60 within seconds. First, it took me acknowledging it, and I would still get heated. Yeah. And I still sometimes get heated, but at least I acknowledge it. And then sometimes I'm like, I acknowledge, but then I'm like, oh, now I could kind of tame it. I could like breathe. Yeah. Sometimes I breathe right in front of her. Yeah. I just deep breathing, and she sees that. Yeah. And maybe it'll help her.
Well, because they're looking at you all the time. You're like their example. Like, once we did a Toronto trip, and he literally at the end of because our kids were just a mess, and we had like stops here and there, like it wasn't a direct flight. I remember it was the funniest thing. I just laughed because, like, what are you going to do? Like, at the same time, I was in, like, a drenched sweat. You know, like, I was totally, like, just sweated out. The kids did horrible. It was what it was. And David stood up at the end and he said, everyone, I'm really sorry about that.
Really? I love it. Oh, my God.
Because it was annoying. Yeah, I get it. Like,
yeah. This is how I've noticed, like, change happens to me is, like, he just shows me. He shows me things that I've never seen before about myself.
Wow. Yeah.
That's how I see. I'm like, wow, I responded rudely. And there I have an opportunity to apologize or something that I wouldn't have before.
Yeah, that's so good.
You know, before I'm always seeing someone else's fault, or why am I'm hurt because you did this and
You're
this.
the problem.
And
yeah.
maybe it's true. Maybe they did do something that actually really hurt me.
Right.
But how is that me being changed?
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Totally. I completely agree. It's honestly, I feel like this, you know, last couple years, it's Lord really pointing out my flaws versus someone else's, you know? Like, how could I, like you said, how can I respond better? Even if someone is unkind to me, how can I show like love back?
Right.
Why not? Is it so hard to just like, if someone's having a bad day, to like make eye contact and smile, ask them how their day's going, you know?
Yeah.
I even try like, when I'm even shopping, like if I see like a beautiful girl, I'm like, I go up to her, I'm like, you look so beautiful. Or like a pregnant person, like, you know how you feel when you're pregnant? You just feel disgusting. At least I did. I didn't feel beautiful through any of my pregnancies. And just go ahead and be like, you're so cute, you know?
Yeah.
Being honest and genuine.
Totally makes my day.
I even want to show my kids, like, that's who we are. We just, like, love on people, even if it's just, like, making conversation with the, you know, the person at the grocery store or, like, interacting. I love that verse. And please, I'm probably going to botch this. It's in Psalm. My flesh and my heart will fail me, but the Lord is like my portion. And he's, you know, our flesh, our hearts are going to fail us. Like, you know, when we have those moments of like, man, I wish I would have dealt with that situation better. Or, you know, but I just feel like if we can keep our eyes fixed on God, if we can continue to like learn from our mistakes, or like you said, ask for forgiveness, or want to be better, want to change, like see these like planks in our own eyes, and be like, man, you know, I could have dealt with that better, but in the future I really want to change, or, you know, have more empathy, or have more compassion, or be kinder, you know?
Yeah.
Recently, we found out we're renting a house right now, and the landlord said, you know, I'm going to end up selling it. We got the email probably late afternoon, and I had a couple of hours of like, I have dealt with anxiety. You know, I've had panic attacks. I'm free in Jesus' name from this, but it has affected me. Like, I am a natural, I can go towards being anxious a little bit more instead of just like delighting myself in the Lord and being at peace. But a praise report of this, I felt this initial like anxiety rise up in me when I got that email. I was like, and all these thoughts poured in, like, where are we going to live? What are we going to do? What's next? Like, you know, and all this fear came in me, right? And then I realized, like, wow, who my God is. And for a second, I was like, so I did. I'm going to be honest. Fear, anxiety started hitting in. And after a couple hours, I was like, this is exhausting. Like, and I just remember going on my, you know, knees and saying, God, I can't live my life anxious. Like, this is not who I am anymore.
Yes, exactly.
Like, I go to the word and what it says and who I am in you and who, like, your promises. And I just remember starting to pray. I kid you not, ever since that time, and just pretty much like consigned it over to God. I was like, God, I can't hold this. I can't control this. I didn't ask for this, you know? And I just felt this peace over me.
Wow.
I kid you not, it still has not left me. Wow. And my husband's like, wow, you're not really like being like, okay, what are we doing next? What state are we moving to? Like, you know, like anxious about it, because that's the old Alise. Like, that's more who he's even used to, which is shameful for me to even admit. But the fact that I'm like, I know who my dad is. I know who my God is. He's he's orchestrating things behind closed doors right now. He's opening doors that no man can shut. He has us. Yeah. And whatever that looks like, whatever state we move to, whatever job opportunity God opens, which there's a few that we're praying for, it's like, okay, God, like, that's your next step, and we trust in you. Wow. You know? Yeah. I'm not saying I'm not, you know, this is a growing thing, like you said, a growing muscle that I still need strength in, and I still need God. Like, every day I just have to make the choice to, like, lay this at his feet again and turn it over to him. But I just feel expectant. I feel excited. Good. And I just know he has us. Good. But it was unexpected. And like I said, I wish I would have dealt with that, you know, instead of letting the enemy steal that joy those first few hours. But like the Lord called me back. He's like, Alise, come on. You know who I am. Yeah. And really like praying through it and asking friends, you know, to pray with me and stand with me in this. And I I felt that peace.
That's
so I'm
so
like,
good.
I still don't know where we're going to live and what state God has us for us next or what's the next stage. But I'm like, Lord, I know you got us. So whatever that looks like, it's your will, and that's all we want.
Yeah.
You know?
But wasn't your reaction still better than like before? Like your anxiety, how it would get
I would have
worse?
had like a full-blown panic attack. And if you've never had like a panic attack, like I'm telling you, I had like my chest tightens up. I like can breathe into a bag. Like it's debilitating for me, or it was for me. And that's more what my husband would like. He's so supportive. He'd help me like kind of talk through it and stuff and point me back to Christ. But it's like it would still affect me day in and day. You know, I would lose sleep over things. I would just like feel unsettled in my spirit, and I'm just like, that peace that surpasses all understanding. I'm walking in his truth. I'm walking that, like, I've already given my life to him. So God is like, whatever the outcome, whatever that looks like, I don't even want to put my input in. I just know he has the best for us, you know, whatever that looks like. But those moments, like you said, I just want to get better and better in because my kids are watching, people are watching. Like, I want to be a light. I want to be, you know, the head and not the tail. I want to stand firm in God's truth and his promises to us, and he just wants the best for us. So why wouldn't I trust him, right?
Exactly. I've kind of changed my prayers lately too, where if I am acting a certain way that I know is wrong, my prayers are more like, the days of anxiety are over.
Yes.
Like, it's like I'm telling myself, you know, like no, this is not gonna have power over me.
That's so good. You're taking like spiritual ground.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so much power in that. Then God, please help my day be better.
Right.
He's like, that's not why I died for you. For you to have a better day. Take authority. You have the authority. Like, defeat it. You have my power.
Like, words of life are so real. Like, even
so real. Oh my gosh.
Even like thinking them, I have conviction over. Like, it's a heart issue. It's a posture of your heart. And I've asked the Lord, wow, Jesus, like, that's not who I am. Like, and I just start like literally my thoughts that were negative, I start declaring things over them. Like, no, this situation is going to work out. This situation is in your hands. Like, no, you love that person. Why would I ever think that about them? You know, it's the hidden things, you know?
Yeah.